Anyway, he said Bogard meat writing incoming. Yo, respect my guess, bro. Why y'all wilding like that?
That's what this
Um,
whole chapter was about.
yo, it was crazy. It was crazy. All right, guys. So, um, I couldn't get in touch with Doran. Doran is going to eventually come through, I think. But I just want to say, first off, we have Xavier Wolf fan, aka Max, in the building. He happens to be on TikTok currently. He's like one of the first guys that I ended up following when we first started our channel. And the guy has been such a killer. Everybody loves his videos because he gives these like deep analysis points of views on like certain characters, especially Bogart, which he's been infamously known for now. He sits at 61.4K followers. And he also has a YouTube, which I discovered, and I'm going to put into the video description below after the video is done. So for everybody out there, Max, please introduce yourself.
What's up? I appreciate all the hype. You don't have to subscribe to my YouTube. Like I barely use that, but like yeah, I appreciate that.
Nah, thank you, man. I just want to say thank you for joining, bro. I had a couple guests that I was thinking about, and for some reason, you and Doran's World came up, and I was just like, man, I don't want to talk to the same people again. I want to talk to somebody that like knows One Piece, but I feel like the TikTok community is so like full of you, and not enough people on like the YouTube or like even Spotify get to hear your voice, except like if they watch your videos or like it shows up on their For You pages. So I just want to say thank you, bro.
No, it's no problem. I love to join anytime.
Yeah. So Doran's World most likely will be here after, and then we'll chop it up with him. But for now, let's get into this chapter, man. Did you read it?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I saw you gave it like a 6 out of 10, but
You thought it was what?
I thought it was like an 8 maybe for me. The push to talk thing is like
Oh,
hard
you
for
could
me.
turn it off.
Oh wait, how do I do that? Fuck.
Let me check real quick. I forgot how to turn push to talk off on mobile.
Wait, I think I got it now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
open it.
I
You
don't
got
need
it?
to ask. I got
I
it.
bet. Yeah, so what did you think about the chapter? What did you rate it?
I thought it was like an 8 out of 10. I love the reveal, bro. Thought that was hype as fuck.
Yeah, the reveal was kind of crazy, right?
I did not expect her to be a girl. Well, I feel like there's definitely something there. Like
Uh,
it wouldn't make sense for her to be a girl, but yeah,
yeah.
that was crazy.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, well, how much do you know about like the hints about Vegapunk and like who he was and like what's your opinion on Vegapunk? Like who do you think he is or she is?
Or like I agree with you how you were saying like he's a neutral party. I feel like that makes the most sense. Like because he hasn't really been portrayed as a villain
Uh-huh.
or really like a good guy either because he's affiliated with the world government.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah, that's true. Do you think like what do you think about the number 2 on the bosom? What does that speak to
uh,
you?
that's gotta mean something. Like Oda wouldn't throw that in for no reason. Like that's gotta mean something, bro.
Yeah, right?
Maybe like a transfer of consciousness. That's what most people are saying. I don't know.
Yeah. Um cuz I was going over with the chat and I know you were in earlier, but it was said that Vegapunk on Katakuri Island, that when Frankie was visiting, he talked to that really old guy, and the old guy kept calling him like him, and he will come back, and he was crying because he couldn't heat up the island and stuff. So, do you think ultimately Vegapunk had a sex change from like somebody like Ivankov, or do you think that he's probably transferring his consciousness into this female?
I don't know. It's definitely interesting because like every time he's been talked about, he's been like stated to be a dude. Like even Caesar, I want to say, called him a dude. So like I don't know. Oh, Doran just popped in.
Yeah, he's on mute. Doran, you here? we'll wait for him to get unmuted. But yeah, finish your thoughts, bro.
Um. Oh yeah. Also, like the fact that Bonnie is in the chapter, I saw Mosh talking about this. That could mean something. Like maybe he's using like Bonnie's power or something to like alter his appearance.
That's true. He could probably make her younger. Or so you're saying that he probably trapped her in the warm eddy?
Well, she was running from that shark thing, so like that was Mosh's idea. So I don't know. That's like not my theory.
Okay. But do you think like Vegapunk's a man or a woman?
I think he's definitely a man from what we've heard from him.
Yeah. Yo, Doran, you're there?
Yeah, I'm there. I'm just plugging in my mic.
Oh, okay. Let me know when you're ready, bro. So, I mean, it depends. I mean, how old do you think Vegapunk is? That's the question, because when that old man said he saw him as a kid, I would think that Vegapunk is probably around 60 or maybe even 50. I don't think
And
he's
then
old.
The like comment under the panel too said he was like talking in like an old timer way too, like the female version.
Really?
Yeah, it has like a little thing, like a comment under it that says like this is supposed to be read in like an old timer type of way or something like that.
So you think that Vegapunk probably is older than he should be?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, he's definitely older than that girl for sure.
Yeah, no, like so there's a couple of theories I have when it comes to it. One of them is it's like either Vegapunk transitioned his soul into a different body, either it's a clone. But there's some people saying that it's his daughter, but I don't think that's the case just because of the way he was speaking.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm inclined
he literally said, "I am Vegapunk." Like, no way, that's his daughter.
Yeah.
I think he figured out immortality. I'm pretty sure he did.
Okay.
That's dope.
Yeah. All right. So before we continue going, I just want to welcome Doran's World to the group discussion. He's amassed so much subscribers on his YouTube that's currently popping off. If you guys haven't seen his YouTube yet, it's Doran's World, and he actually surpassed 100K on TikTok. You became kind of a big deal, bro. So congratulations on the success that you've had, and welcome, and thank you for joining us, bro.
I appreciate it. I'm still same old. I don't see myself any different, but I really do appreciate the kind words and whatnot, and I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, thank you, man. So yeah, guys, this is gonna be sort of like a podcast type of thing. It's gonna be sort of different from the usual TikTok thing that you guys do. So like I'm gonna ask you one question, have you guys fully answer it, and then we'll go to the next one to answer, for you to explain what you think as well. So that's how it's just gonna be for the time being. But thank you again, both of you, for coming on. So yeah, so like the huge reveal of this chapter is just Vegapunk, right? What do you think necessarily about him changing animals into robots that are like slaves? And we'll start with Max first.
Honestly, on my first read, I didn't even catch that until I like read the part where he's like, "Oh, we gotta like, I have to learn to get rid of these like primal instincts." So that's kind of like screwed up that he's like, kind of torturing animals into doing his bidding. But yeah, I don't know what Oda's gonna do with that. It's weird.
All right. What about you, Doran? What do you think, bro?
Well, at this point in time, I think Vegapunk has kind of abandoned his humanity for the sake of science. This is something I've seen in many different manga and whatnot. It's a pretty common theme. Once you go past a certain threshold, you kind of abandon like a moral standpoint and an ethical standpoint for the sake of your objective. So the fact that he's doing this with animals is not something I'm surprised about. I'm sure he's done stuff that's worse, and he'll probably continue to do things that are worse, or she will continue to do things that are worse.
Yeah. So you saying things like that, right? Where like scientists necessarily dive into like this godly like perspective on the world, and it's because science allows them to express their creativity no matter what the moral code is. Um, do you think they have a moral code? Do you think like Vegapunk cares about good or evil, or he is good or evil? We'll go with Doran.
I think he's more stuck in his mad scientist ways. That's my expectation, at least. I mean, he was in he was in like the mad scientist group with Caesar and Judge and Queen. And let's be honest, none of them are really stand-up guys. So I wouldn't be surprised if Vegapunk's also in the moral gray. There's a consistent theme in One Piece with extremism where everybody's on an extreme. And I think Vegapunk is, in that realm as well.
Okay. What about you, Max? What do you think? You think he's good or evil?
I mean, it's hard to say with like the whole shark thing, but like I don't know, man. It's definitely hard to say.
Okay. So there has been evidence of him, like obviously, during Frankie's 2 year period where he needed to get stronger, he visited the island that Vegapunk's homeland is, right? And the old man said a couple things that pointed to like Vegapunk having some type of moral code where like he would cry because he couldn't heat the island, because the people there would freeze. There was also that time with Caesar where Caesar was creating this mass genocide weapon and Vegapunk didn't approve of it. And now we have Vegapunk now saying like he just kills people and ships with this shark to savage their resources, but also the pirates quote where he was like, "You pirates are so naive. I wasn't trying to save you." Does that add any like thing more to where you think he is morally? And we'll just say, Max, you go.
Um, I'm not sure. Like the things you say, like, oh, he didn't want to use like the poison gas, like that Caesar was doing, definitely makes you think that he's leaning more towards like the morally like good side of things. But
Mm-hmm.
also like he's not nearly as arrogant as like the other people that he was in the organization of Mads with. Like he says he's like mediocre in terms of science. So like, yeah, I would say like he's probably more so on the morally right.
Yeah, he does seem a little humble too, which is weird, right?
Yeah, it's definitely refreshing.
What about you, Dorn? Does that any of the things I said add to like you leaning to one side more than the other, or is it just science?
I just think he's in a moral gray. I don't know if he could be leaning more towards a better side than in retrospect to all the other scientists that we've seen thus far. I don't think that really takes away that he's still a nuanced character who's done both good things and bad things. I think a good example, for instance, is also with Kuma. Kuma,
Uh-huh.
how he talked about Vegapunk, and in a way that shows that he's like this great scientist. But I also think that Vegapunk could have been developing as a character throughout this point in time, and I still believe that there might have been a threshold where he denounced his humanity in a certain sense for science. Like the person he was on his home country could be a vastly different Vegapunk that we're getting right now.
Yeah, no, that's 100% true. I mean, depending on how you want to interpret the pirate line, do you think that maybe the reason why he might have changed morally is because something happened with him and pirates that was negative, Doran?
I think so because circumstances and experiences will change your outlook on life. Just like, I mean, for instance, we have a Kainu who's a borderline extremist authoritarian who probably had a really traumatic backstory with pirates that shaped his worldview. So probably Vegapunk has not as extreme, but a similar encounters, similar experiences where pirates have done him wrong, and he bears some resentment and believes that if one pirate's bad, then they're all bad.
Yeah. What about you, Max? What do you think?
Uh, I don't really know like if he has any animosity towards like pirates per se, but I feel like his affiliation with the world government has everything to do with like him just like getting the funds that he needs for his like science.
Yeah, I agree. I've said it a couple times on our show that I don't think he has any way leaning one way or the other. I just think he likes to create science. And, you know, like I mentioned it earlier when I was reviewing the chapter that, you know, Oppenheimer, whoever the guy that created the atomic bomb in real life, I'm pretty sure his goal wasn't to create an atomic bomb. He just created something that he just thought, yo, I can create it, so I'm just going to. And then it got used maliciously by people that were of a higher status than him. And I think
Well,
that,
I see, Frankie as the parallel to Vegapunk, like the mirror, because when Frankie was growing up, him and Tom, he learned from Tom that it's not the weapons that are bad and who are abusive, it's the people. So when you give a certain technology into somebody's hands, that's the thing that's gonna cause the power. So maybe even Vegapunk holds the same ideology, and maybe we'll see something fleshed out in this arc because again, Vegapunk and Frankie are two sides of the same coin.
damn, I forgot all about that too with Tom, because that was
Yeah.
so good. I forgot all about that. I'm like, damn, Tom really said that.
Well, it's actually funny because like I did a video about this a little while ago on like Frankie and Vegapunk and how I believe in some sense Vegapunk could be the antithesis to Frankie, and it's because Vegapunk has kind of been inspired by Dr. Frankenstein, while Frankie is Frankenstein's monster.
Hmm.
Yeah,
What you
that's a
think
great
about that? Max, what did you think about what Doran said?
I was just saying that's a great analogy. I feel like I've heard that from you before. I want to say like that goes hard.
Yeah, that is crazy though. So I guess the next question is to just piggyback off that. How important will Frankie's role be in this upcoming, I guess, arc? What do you think, Max? You think he'll have like a major effect on this arc?
Yeah, I feel like he's kind of been overdue for. I mean, I guess Water 7 you could say was like Loki's arc, but in terms of like post time skip, he hasn't really had like a major focus, and this could definitely be his time to shine, especially with like all the Vegapunk stuff that he could be getting.
Yeah, I agree. What about you, Doran?
Well, it's interesting because in terms of Frankie, the last time he really shined was in Dressrosa when he's there to destroy the factory. And again, I think it's kind of playing on that same idea that it's the people who are abusing these powers that make them inherently evil. Again, you see Momo, for instance, who ate a Smile Devil Fruit, and he's using it to protect his country, while Kaido is using the Smiles in order to, dominate the world in a certain sense. So, yeah, I think it's like that kind of plot line from Water 7 has been embedded in Dressrosa in that circumstance, and now we're going to see it in the greater picture in this arc. And I hope it gets really fleshed out because, like you guys said, Frankie is overdue for some time.
Yeah, I feel like Frankie's gonna have a lot to do with this arc, especially since you just made that comparison with Tom. That was beautiful. Somebody super chatted $10. Celestial Dragon. He said Vegapunk works for Buggy. Hashtag Buggy Gang. What you guys think about that?
I would be surprised.
All right, so I got a theory. So I always thought Vegapunk had some ties to the revolutionaries, and the main reason is because the revolutionaries are dressed in steampunk attire, so playing off Vegapunk.
Also, the whole Kuma thing could have like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, that could be true. I mean, the revolutionaries theory has been quite around for some time, right? Like just based off of what Kuma did.
Yeah.
So for the Straw Hats at Archipelago. So let's dive into Vegapunk's psyche just a little bit more because he's going to be the highlight of talk throughout the whole week until I guess the next chapter drops, right? So my theory has been that since Dr. Vegapunk considered Momo's Devil Fruit a perfect replication, but it was still a failure. And that's always been very curious to me. I never knew or understood why he would consider a perfect replica of a Devil Fruit a failure. And I kind of want to ask you guys, Why do you think he thinks it's a failure, even though it's perfect to the T? We'll start with Dorn.
Oh, that's a good question, and this is one I actually don't have an answer for. I guess the only thing I could really come up with is that maybe there's just one component that all the other Smile Devil Fruits had that this one was missing, or maybe it was too perfect that putting it in the hands of somebody else would be too chaotic, because having somebody like Kaido with the same Devil Fruit, the balance of power gets skewed. So maybe he called it a failure because of that fact, because he didn't want people using it.
Yeah. What about you, Max? What do you think?
Well, that's also like a pretty hard question. I saw someone say like because it doesn't look like an actual devil fruit, like it doesn't have swirls, and that's why he called it a failure, because it's not like a full like replication of the devil fruit. But I don't know.
Wait, it didn't have swirls?
Or it doesn't have. I forget. It doesn't have like a quality that all devil fruits have.
The reason I ask you that question is because on our last episode, we were questioning how seraphims are able to have the attack moves of like Mihawk, or the attack moves of like Boa and stuff like that. And I came to the assumption that maybe, just maybe, the reason why Vegapunk possibly thought that the Devil Fruit, as perfect as it was a failure, was because he couldn't transfer, or he didn't know how to transfer the will of the Devil Fruit as well.
That's what I was thinking too.
So, do you guys think right now that Vegapunk has indeed found a way to transfer wills from people to people, or devil fruits to devil fruits, or even swords to swords? What do you think, Max?
Well, yeah, that could be like how he feeds devil fruits to objects. Like that could like literally be how he does it. He just like bends the will and like makes it so it goes into the object. So I don't know, but like, yeah, I feel like he definitely has figured that out by now.
Damn. How scary is that, Doran?
It's terrifying. I mean, we see it firsthand with the Seraphim, just how destructive they are. And the world government, they're really trying to put a nail in the coffin to all pirates. So if Vegapunk keeps advancing at the rate he is, that could actually become a reality depending on what happens.
Yeah. It sounds so wild just to be able to take somebody's will, like, because will is challenged, like it's built upon, like, it's not something that usually somebody's given, and even if they are given it, it's during their times of adversity, it's built to be stronger than ever. So it makes me think, like, if Mihawk's will was taken during, like, let's say the Marineford dinner that all the Shichibukai went through, do you think that Seraphim is only as strong as that current Mihawk right then and there? And if Mihawk got stronger, then that will doesn't transfer over? Like, what do you guys think?
Well, I think as machines, and just it might be too hard. But so the thing is that it's really ironic, because I did a video today, and it's this whole theory video and that actually dates back to a couple months ago. Somebody made a post that the next time we learn about Blackbeard, that's when we'll learn about Vegapunk. And the whole idea is that Blackbeard was a failed experiment that resulted from Rox's DNA, and that Vegapunk was experimenting with. And that's why he knows so much about Devil Fruit. So maybe that whole idea of inherited will, he was starting it all the way back then, and it transitioned to this stage and this point in time. So therefore, maybe there is a possibility that somebody who is an experiment, somebody who was experimented on, has that capability to grow with their own willpower.
What do you think about what he said, Max?
No, I agree. I feel like the Seraphims that we were seeing in Amazon Lily could like become even stronger on their own, because even with like that shark thing, it has a will of its own. So technically, if you apply that same logic to the Seraphim, they could even like become stronger on their own, which is pretty insane.
Yeah. So you think he transferred Euro's will too into the sword that Seraphim was using?
Oh, I mean, Yeah, maybe that would be insane. A supreme grade swords will.
I think
Yeah,
it's possible.
like there could be like 2 Enmas because we recently got that info clarified, right?
Wait, what?
You remember? Enma got clarified that it has a will of its own, and like Zoro was
Oh, is that
talking to it and stuff.
Yeah.
Like we could possibly have 2 Enmas at this point if Vegapunk knows how to transfer wills.
yeah, theoretically.
So I guess I have 2 questions, but I'm gonna piggyback off the last topic we had. Do you believe Vegapunk is the end game opponent, or is it M, or is it Blackbeard, or is it a Kainu? And I'll have Max.
Uh, I mean, it's like the classic answer, but probably like Blackbeard, I would assume,
Yeah,
just
right.
because and portrayed to be like the final guy. But I could easily see it being Emu too.
Same.
Same.
Yeah, because like again, we still know nothing about Emu,
Hmm.
and like if even if it's a guy or a girl, I'm leaning more towards that it's a girl. But Emu is still like engulfed in shadows. We've never seen his or her face yet, and so I think Oda's building up to something like Naruto is trying to build up with Kaguya, except in this case, there's a lot more foreshadow.
Yeah, it is. Kaguya was nowhere to be found, bro.
Yeah, yeah. People try to defend it, but nah. Like,
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to disagree with you guys. I think that Vegapunk will probably be the end game. And I know that sounds crazy. I know it sounds crazy because of everything that the world government stands for and what Luffy's trying to do and what Blackbeard currently is. I just feel like when you look at Vegapunk, he's the most dangerous person in the world. Like it doesn't come close unless he has like an ancient weapon. But I feel like he's almost close to building his own ancient weapon, right? Like he has to be. Like if there's anybody that could build another ancient weapon, he probably build like a 4th one and combine all 3 of them, right? Like you have to
That'd be-
expect that. Either one could go.
Yeah, I think it's definitely possible. I mean, like, look, Vegapunk is 500 years in the future. My guy is literally just, like light years ahead of everybody else. So to say that he isn't a threat would be incorrect, and that's probably the reason why the world government wanted him, in like working with him because of how scary he is. Now, with that being said, this goes back to the whole idea: does um does Vegapunk have an ethical backbone in his body? And if he does, then he wouldn't pursue such extremes. But again, I'm leaning more towards that he's in the moral gray. He's in it for his own, perverse version of what science means to him. And I think setting him up as the final villain isn't a bad idea. But just because he isn't the antithesis to Luffy, I don't know how it would work. I would probably put Shanks as a final villain or a final antagonist over Vegapunk, in my opinion.
What about you, Max? What do you think?
Well, I feel like your ideas were definitely interesting as hell, like the whole like combining the ancient weapons thing. But how do you think that Vegapunk would be like the final villain? Like if you were assuming that he's like neutral, like how do you think that would work?
Uh, so to me, I know this sounds very immoral, but to me, it's like, okay, so like let's say like Vegapunk isn't a bad guy, right? Like there's not an evil bone in his body at all. If the dude could just create ancient weapons at will and create multiple devil fruits of like Kizaru, where there's like 3 admirals that have the glint glint fruit now, and he's just able to replicate them and they're able to do awakenings. He's able to create a mass amount of weapons, even though he's a good guy. Don't you think we should take him out because of the possibility of him getting taken advantage of or him just turning on us? It's like that whole Superman argument, right? Like Superman's the most powerful hero of all time, but if he just suddenly snapped or like suddenly his power was misused, we probably want to take him out, right? Like even though he's a good person.
But what would be the reason to do that if he's just chilling, like if he's a good person,
Maybe his inventions get used by somebody else. Like because those things would never exist if he never created them. The same way like
I guess, yeah.
no,
I
go.
guess like what I'm thinking is like we won't really know until we know what Vegapunk's motivations are. I think that's the key to understanding if he will be an endgame villain versus, what he will end up being in One Piece. Because, motivation, that's going to drive the character forward. That's why, I believe Blackbeard's more of an endgame villain because his motivation is to destroy the world. Or Eam is an endgame villain because his or her motivation is to preserve the world in this authoritarian regime. So if Vegapunk just wants to keep making science and do endlessly for as long as he can, then I don't see him being the end of series villain unless somebody contests him for his objective.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes me so interested, man. Like I can't say like it's such an interesting thought because I think that the best villains usually are the most relatable ones, but also the ones that you don't think are villains, you know? Like some like they say like the villain of their like the villain of the story is usually the hero of their story, you know? And it's like obviously Blackbeard has to be like an end game villain because he is the antithesis to Luffy. But it's also like that's very like generic at the same time. It's like we know he's expected to be that. But what if we had somebody that we could relate to and be like, "Oh, that's why he does those things." And it's like I don't know, like when you have like a sympathetic character like Vegapunk, then maybe it's like that's a harder decision like if he's right or wrong. Like if he's doing the right thing or not.
But because of that, I'd be leaning more towards Shanks because there's always the argument that Shanks bears some resentment for Roger. There's like I've always speculated that that could be the case. We still really don't know anything about Shanks's background, but him being like a sympathetic antagonist and villain because of everything we do know about Shanks, I think that would fit that narrative more than it would for Vegapunk. I think I can see Vegapunk being the final boss for Frankie just because of what Frankie stands for versus what Vegapunk could stand for.
Okay.
He was the villain of this arc. I would love that.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That'd be crazy. All right, so somebody pointed out his name is Phantom Greyfire. He's like one of these great guys that's in like a lot of the popular YouTube communities. He said who's worse? Hogback from Thriller Bark, the renowned surgeon who made that girl he was obsessed with come back to life, or Vegapunk, because if the chick that he's talking through is basically doing the same thing as Hogback. I don't know if you guys noticed that.
Yeah, and I it's funny. I actually thought about that too.
Yeah, what did you think?
Yeah.
Like, do you think that they have similarities right now for that?
Yeah, I actually thought I thought that was actually a callback to Thriller Bark because that was actually what was going through my head. I was like, hey, I've seen this before. Maybe it's this. And so, is one of them worse? I would say they're both in a very, very unethical area. To say which one is worse is yet to be acknowledged yet because Hogback was a pretty crazy guy, but
He was.
If we find out that Vegapunk has done stuff that's bordering on mass slaughter, then it's segue for argument. And honestly, like I'm already inclined to believe that Vegapunk is worse just because he's made these these weapons that like the pacifistas that have caused extreme destruction against pirates. And whether you want to say that's in the name of justice, at the end result is still the same. People are dying.
Yeah. What about you, Max? What do you think about that similarity between Hogback and Vegapunk, if it is true?
Well, no, I would have to agree with Doran. Like none of them really seem like worse than the other. But at least we know for Vegapunk, like he's actually humble, whereas like Hogback was not in the slightest.
Yeah, that dude was definitely a little wild. All right, so I know this is gonna be a surprising ass topic because Vegapunk is obviously the highlight. How do y'all feel about Tashigi still being a damn captain after all this time?
So she could be higher than Kobe, bro. That just wouldn't make sense.
Yo, would it not? I feel like
Nah.
Honestly, she should be higher, but it's understandable why she isn't,
Uh,
because she hasn't really done much since the New World started. Like half of the New World for her has been transporting the kids to Vegapunk.
yeah. I don't
So
know.
like, Kobe's been way more active. Kobe has, he spearheaded with a law again with the Rocky Port incident. He went after Boa. He fought with Blackbeard. Like Kobe's been very active, and he's been making it a mission that, hey, I want to be an admiral someday. So if I want to be an admiral, I gotta step up to the plate whenever I can.
Yeah, Kobe needs a promotion, bro. He's been
Yeah.
grinding.
Yeah, he's a regular Marine captain too. Only. That's why I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, I agree, but I feel like she should still be at least a Commodore. Like, cause it goes Fleet Admiral, Admirals, Vice Admirals, Rear Admiral, and then the Commodore, and then captains, and then like commanders, Lieutenant Commander. Like, I expected Helmeppo not to gain any notoriety, right? But Tashiki's like a collector of like legendary graded swords, you know?
Has she? Oh, how many Supreme grades has she?
What?
I'll be honest, Tashiki's goal is way too hard to accomplish with Mihawk still existing. Like, like I'm sorry, Tashiki, but like you're idealistic.
Yo, listen, bro. I feel like Tashiki should have been the queen of the series, man.
Maybe one day in Two Piece.
Maybe Vegapunk's gonna make like a Kuina clone or something. Zora's gotta fight him. I was the joke. Okay.
Oh my god, bro.
Maybe Tashigi will face the greatest enemy of the series down these stairs.
Yo, all right, low key though. Let me ask you this: if Vegapunk has taken DNA from like other Marines, and he takes one of Tashigi, and he makes a Seraphim, and it looks exactly like Kuina, but like she's like Mihawk level strength, you think Zoro loses?
Nah, Zoro is probably going to cut her down.
Is that after or before he fights me?
That's before.
It's his training arc.
Yeah, I don't.
Oh my god. Yo, just push it down some stairs, bro. That's it. Just push
Oh,
it
no,
down some
no.
stairs.
Zoro has the high ground.
It depends all on the location. Like if we're talking at the top of a staircase, I'm gonna have to give that to Zoro.
Oh man. All right, so my next question is gonna be for Max first, because I know he needs to answer this. What happens with Kobe? Do you think that Bogart, your boy, goes after and goes to rescue him? How's that playing out in your head? Like,
If there is any time to reintroduce the person who trained Kobe and Helmeppo into the story, what better time would it be for fucking like Bogart and Garp to pull up on Beehive Island and just like, just rescue Kobe? They don't even have to like clash with the Blackbeard pirates. They just need to, it's like an infiltration. They just get in, get out. Like that would be a dope arc.
yeah. I mean, it's a good way to introduce Bogart, man. Finally prove that he's probably on Rayleigh's level, They grew up during the same time, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that would be dope as fuck.
What about you, Doran? You think Sword makes a move, and if so, is Bogart in it?
Oh, Bogart's definitely in Sword, and yeah, no, I think they would make a move. With the whole Blackbeard situation with Kobe, there's so many moving parts. Like I have no idea what Blackbeard's doing, but he could do one of a million things. And one thing I really want him to do is take Kobe's shadow.
Ooh.
Take Kobe's shadow?
Because there's still that plot line with Moria. Like, what did he do with Moria? Did he subjugate him so Moria's now on his crew, or did he, defeat him, take his devil fruit, give it to somebody in his crew, and now he's doing his One Piece version of the Edo Tensei and reviving like an army of undead pirates, and he's just taking the shadows of pretty strong Marines. Like Kobe is kind of up there. So what if he did that with Kobe?
Yeah, you were gonna say something, Max? What were you gonna say?
Oh, I just like that idea a lot. I never thought about that. I also heard people say like he could be like trying to sell him to the Cross Guild.
Yeah.
That's a good one too. You know what it is? I would have loved the Edo Tensei idea But the people that would be dead, that would come back from the shadows, they don't come back with their like previous mentalities or powers, right? So like even if like an Ace was to receive a Kobe shadow, he wouldn't be like Ace. He'd just be like Kobe, but with like Ace's body. So it wouldn't give that same like Edo Tensei effect because
Yeah.
that personality is not there, so it would lack. Because I thought about it and I was like, yo, what if like Blackbeard just brought Whitebeard to like the war with Ace and they were like all like zombied out? I was like,
You
yo, how
need a
dope would
strong
that?
guy.
You would need somebody strong for sure.
Yeah.
Um, that's so wild. I mean, if we think about it, like, do you guys think that Aokiji is in Sword, Doran?
Oh yeah, for sure. I've thought that, you know, the whole instance with him and Akainu, I think there's a possibility it was staged so he could go undercover in the Blackbeard Pirates. Like he still gave it his all and whatnot because he had to make it convincing. But I still think there's an argument like that's what he did. If he couldn't become the fleet admiral, that was the next thing he was going to do. So it was like a contingency.
So wait, you think he just lost like, I think it was an
No.
arm or a leg, like to make it look like that to join Blackbeard's ship?
No, I think it was a contingency. Like he was fighting to become the fleet admiral, but
Okay.
once he lost, as a contingency, as a backup plan, he's like, all right, rather than work for the Marines up front, working under a Kainu, I'd rather be more of like a free agent because he actually said for himself one time that there's a lot more that you can do, being like not being under the Marines flag in the name of justice than you can as a Marine because as a Marine, you have to follow strict guidelines, but as a free agent, he can do whatever he wants.
So you
Forgot
think,
about.
so you think he saves Kobe?
I think it's a possibility. I wouldn't be surprised if Aokiji was and that's actually another thing too. Like, what if Kobe got caught on purpose so he could relay an information to Aokiji because he is part of Sword?
Yo, that's crazy.
What about you, Max? What do you think? Do you think he's in Sword,
Um,
and do you think he's gonna save Kobe? Like, what happens?
Well, either way, I feel like he's still like he's not becoming a villain now that he's affiliated with the Blackbeard Pirates. But if he is in Sword, I would assume that Blackbeard really had to like screen that man because I would never like if Blackbeard really wanted a Marine to join his crew, he definitely had to like make sure this man isn't still affiliated with the world government. Like, you know, because no way that man would allow just like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. And you know what's crazy? Because if we take the Bullet movie, like Stampede for what it was, right? And let's say like parts of it were canon, Blackbeard didn't want Bullet on his crew because he was too strong. You remember
Really?
that? Yeah, he went
Yeah.
to level 6 and he saw Bullet and they were like, yo, let's recruit him. And he was like, nah, I think we'll leave that one inside the jail. And like bounced. He was like, yeah, it's too strong. I don't like strong guys like you on my ship or something like that.
I gotta.
Well, it could also be because, you know, he's not like a total idiot. He has like some level of intelligence and independence,
Mhm.
and so Blackbeard wants pawns that he can control.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I feel like, do you think that Aokiji's not really a threat to Blackbeard to this extent now? If we take that same idea that he had with Bullet?
I think with Blackbeard, like, you know, he's such a calculated character that he probably thought to himself, like, even if Aokiji is working for Sword, so what? It's not going to inhibit me from my plan. Like, I'm still going to accomplish my objectives.
Yeah.
This, you know, it's still a means to an end. Like, I'll use him as best as I can, and then, you know, just drop him when I need to.
Like feed him fake information or something.
Yeah, literally, like Blackbeard. People really don't give Blackbeard a lot of credit, but this man is extremely intelligent. One of his main hobbies is history. You know, he does a lot of research, and so that's why he's such a well-rounded, intellectual person.
Yeah.
Because he knows a lot of things that other people don't, and he used that information to his power.
Yeah. No, I agree. So I'll ask Max this. It's a very important question, Max. You need to answer it super truthfully, bro.
Okay.
Who was the best waifu this chapter? Was it Bonnie? Was it Tashigi? Was it Vegapunk or
But that's
Bonnie
not.
or Doll.
I would say Bonnie, but that has nothing to do with the page you're thinking of.
Oh my god. What about you, Doran? Who do you think was the biggest waifu in this chapter?
It's Bonnie, and it has everything to do with that page we're thinking about.
Oh
That's
my
a good.
god, yeah. Oh, you guys are too funny, bro. Yo, low key though, like Doll was kind of fine, bro.
Yeah, I agree. I actually do agree with that. I was talking to my homie about it after, and we're like, "Yo, new character. Who's this?"
Yo, she a
Otis-
vice admiral. What were you gonna say?
I was saying Oda's going off. Like he's really been grinding on those like female designs, man.
Yeah, I mean, listen, she's a vice admiral, bro. I mean, what'd you say?
I didn't know she's a vice admiral. Wouldn't that be the highest rank in sword?
That we know of, yeah. Because Gruso, what was his name? Grus, the dude that just got introduced.
I have to check.
Prince Gruss.
Yeah, that's his name.
Yeah, he looks like Cortisone, but just super edgy.
He's dope.
He's a rare admiral, so he's a position under her.
Damn.
I don't know the other guys though. That's like behind him. I don't know if they're part of Sword 2, but this would make. No, speak, Max. Go ahead.
I think they are because like they appeared in a cover story in like the beige cover stories. Prince Groose and those two dudes, they were like looking for beige.
Wait, really?
Didn't even
Yeah.
know
'Cause
that.
he-
That's wild.
Hold on, let me check.
100, 200 chapters back or something. I don't know the exact chapter.
He doesn't even have a Wikipedia right now. On One Piece Wikipedia, he's not even there.
I don't think he was named until this chapter.
Named into so it probably didn't update. I want to know what chapter that was. Probably one of these guys will probably know. Yeah, that's wild. I would probably. It gotta be Bonnie, bro. It gotta be Bonnie. It's just mad weird, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. I feel like. I don't know. All right, so did you guys see? No, go Max.
What were you saying is mad weird? What are we talking about?
Like the fact that she could just turn into a child at any point, you know?
Oh,
That has to be super like you got to register yourself a little bit, right? Like you're not allowed around like parks.
yeah, that is kind of sketch.
All right, did you guys see that Jinbei's nipple was like almost on his shoulder or not?
Wait, what? I did not see that.
Yeah, go to Jinbei when Luffy is like flexing his muscles when he speaks about being free.
Oh, actually, that's something I want to touch up on. What do you guys think of all that? How Luffy said like because Bonnie said like, why isn't your hair white? And he's like, oh, that's just what I am when I'm at my most free. But what does that exactly mean? Like, I want to take well, Luffy said quite literally. By freedom, does that mean he's completely detached himself from like his humanity, and so he's kind of transcended into this godlike state because the Nika fruit is a god fruit. What do you guys think?
You could go, Max.
Yeah, I definitely think it has everything to do with like Nika. Obviously, like he's becoming more free. And didn't like the elders say like something about forget what the words were for verbatim, but they were like he can fight as like as he wishes or something along the lines of that.
Yeah.
So like Luffy's interpretation of his own power is definitely interesting as hell when he says that.
As for me, he does go into gear 5. I don't know if you guys noticed. A little bit. Like his hair changes too, and his body like looks more cartoonish. Like he's like stretching the rubber in a free way. To me, yeah, to me, I just feel like he says exactly, oh, that's just how I look when I'm totally free. So when I think about that, I'm like, maybe he doesn't worry so much either. because to be free, you have to be free physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, even, right? And I think that all the worries of the world and such like that, Luffy just happens to get rid of. And it just fits everything else, right? Like he's able to fight however he wants or manipulate reality however he pleases because it's just the freedom to do so. He has the opportunity to do so. And I think that with that comes also like the change of thought, the change of like perspective and how the world should be. And it worries me a little bit because I think somebody brought this up, but like if Luffy's ultimate power that was stated by Mihawk was to bring people towards him, and he happens to awaken his devil fruit even further to the point he makes everybody laugh and not have to worry, it could be detrimental to the world because being around him would be kind of like devastating because you're always happy and always smiling. And it resembles much like the smile devil fruits, right? Where we had the whole town in Ebisu just smiling and laughing nonstop even when they wanted to cry. Like, what if Luffy lost control and like that
So
ended up happening?
It's funny that you brought that up because a little while ago I made a video on this, like how Gear 5 stole Luffy's humanity. And what I mean by that is, as humans we feel a range of emotions, not just joy. But as Joy Boy, Luffy really only felt actual just happiness and joy the entire time during the fight. Like it's a serious fight. Kaido is his enemy, and he's enjoying every bit of that battle, even though he should be here to be destroying the guy. Yeah, there were certain nuances in times when, it seemed like he was bouncing back to his normal consciousness, but as his devil fruit progresses, will he continue to lose the bits and pieces of himself that make him human in the process? And like you said, awakened, if he can affect the environment around him, then therefore he would also be taking the humanity of everybody else.
Yeah, that's a scary thought.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I wonder because I had this this talk before about how much did the how much does the Nika fruit control fate and destiny, right? Like to some degree, did the will of the fruit somehow use another form of hockey to make reality bend to its will, which caused Shanks to go after the fruit in order to bring it to Luffy, who's the obvious benefactor of this fruit, right? Like it landed in his hands because the fruit basically needed to go into his hands. He's the only person that could truly bring out its potential. And it's like, when does it become a factor that this fruit is so heavily doused in like will that it probably even willed Shanks to some degree to like a mind control, where like it mind controlled Shanks to a degree. You guys get what I'm trying to say or no?
I am, because if we go back to what the Gorosei said, they said this devil fruit has been invading us for 800 years, which means this fruit not only has a will of its own, but it's able to affect the environment around it, so it will never get into the hands of those who could use it in a situation that could lead to devastation. So, yeah, I think just like how devil fruits can affect their environment, maybe even this one is just so special that it can do the same thing even as a regular fruit.
What do you think, Max? You think there's any leeway to this thought process that like this fruit can manipulate reality and people?
Well, like Doran said, like the Gurosei were talking about how it basically has a mind of its own, and also the fact that like Shanks like chose to go after a Cipher Pole ship. I mean, he wasn't even a Yonko at that point, and he still like went out of his way to go after this like government ship. I don't think that was just like on accident. He definitely knew what he was getting into, or he was like willed into it somehow, like you were saying.
And yeah, it brings up a lot of questions, man, regarding this fruit. And I'm glad you asked that question, Doran, because this is a question that most people just like, they're not as detailed into the details of One Piece and they don't think about like all the possibilities because it's kind of hampering, right? But this does bring up the fact that, yo, maybe the Nika fruit isn't a good fruit. Maybe it's a bad fruit if it's used poorly. And this is probably why the government is so afraid of it, you know?
Rock's previous devil fruit user?
Oh, maybe. I hope not. I wouldn't want Rocks to be a Devil Fruit user, to be honest.
If,
Why?
if Rox is getting any devil fruit, I want it to be the Yami Yami Nomi.
Yeah. I mean, the reason why I wouldn't want it is because if you've noticed, everybody that's taller than the captain usually has a Devil Fruit, and he doesn't. So like Luffy, Shanks, they're just like powerhouses, right? But there's like smaller in stature. Rocks was the same way. Rocks was chilling with these huge people, and he just sat in the middle, and they bent the knee to him. And I feel like when you're in One Piece and you don't have a Devil Fruit and you're like competing at these levels, you're just like that much more of a badass to me.
I agree with that too. Because like again, Shanks, the reason we revere him is because this guy's a hockey master who, everybody bows down to. And the man only has one arm. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean,
The
don't.
Rock as strong as hell conquers hockey, like no doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. I hate when people bring up the one arm fact because I'm like, yo, it's not that hard in One Piece to will yourself to become a Yonko with one arm. Like we had Papagu, the starfish, will himself to talk, and he was a regular ass starfish. And he was like, yo, I want to talk. And he just started talking and became a fashion designer. He's like the most successful, rich fish star in like all of Fishman Island.
That's a really good point. I completely forgot about that.
Like the dude really became that just because he wanted himself to talk. So he just talked. I don't know.
Shanks did a little more than that to become Yonko, though.
Yeah, I mean, Shanks out here has like hockey Wi-Fi. Shout out to Parvision, but he like sends his hockey like across the ways. As we've never seen anybody do that.
I have a buddy named Rox Review who said that Shanks is the Enel of hockey.
Of Conqueror's hockey.
Yeah. I thought it was a good point.
All right, so let me ask you this, Max, because Anel and Ace are my favorite characters, by the way. But how much does Anel foreshadow Emu, and do you think there's any similarities between the two?
Yo, I was definitely like looking into that because at first I was like, I don't think this is foreshadowing. It's just kind of like a coincidence. But there's a little more to it if you like really look into it. Because like I think there's like the attack just like looks hella similar to the one that Enel used in Skypiea, and then also Enel had that sky boat thing that he was taking to the moon, which kind of makes
the arc,
like
Maxim arc.
Yeah, the Maxim arc. That makes you think like, what if that's what was in the sky and did the attack on Sabo? I don't know, but like, that's pretty crazy to think about.
Yeah. What about you, Doran? What do you think?
I'm so happy you brought this up because this is one of my favorite parts about One Piece. It's the parallels. So I've said for a long time that Jaya and Skypiea, like that whole saga, it's a microcosm on the entire narrative of One Piece. What's Jaya about? It's all about dreams. They go into Mocktown, the dreamless cities. This whole irony about how Bellamy disregards dreams while Luffy is a dreamer. They go to Jaya or to Skypiea, and they essentially accomplish that dream where it's this fantastical adventure, and that's something all Luffy ever wanted, where they go up against a god who is Enel. Now you take that parallel, you bring it down to Dressrosa, and you have that same duality between the D clan and the Celestial Dragons, therefore being another microcosm of the whole situation with the D clan versus Emu. So I think it's very, very symbolic. There's a lot of themes going around there to build up the narrative, and it was done in a very interesting way.
Yeah, it was. I agree. It makes me think, right? Everybody always downplays Skypiea. Do you guys think that Skypiea, as the story progresses towards the end, continues to be the focal point of all of One Piece? Because everything has been kind of foreshadowed through Skypiea. Do you think Skypiea is the most important arc in all of One Piece? And I'll start with Max.
I mean, it very well could be when you're like looking at all the stuff it has foreshadowed already with like Nika and then like this thing too. But like, out of every other arc, I would say definitely Skypiea is like the model for all of One Piece. Yeah.
What about you, Doran?
Well, it's funny because it was after Skypiea that One Piece, in my mind, became a masterpiece of a series, and it's because of the ending. You know, you see Luffy's shadow in the sky, and you know you can take that panel and just analyze so much about it in general. But yeah, like as the story progresses, those small things that were going on in Skypiea. Again, there's also the whole thing with the Golden City and you know a golden bell and you know like there's a lot of stuff there that is connected to every mystery in One Piece. So I feel like as we learn more about the answers to these mysteries, they're all going to relate back to Skypiea, and we've already seen a lot of that. For instance, in the Odin flashback, when Gold Roger, you know, he was able to sign his name on that poneglyph, I think it was, because of Odin.
Yeah. And then it's crazy too because I think the most important fact was that Enel believed himself a god, and he ended up being a false god, and he did an attack that destroyed the Birkins, which I hope your Rouge, when he comes back into the story, gives us some insight into the Birkins, because I do believe that the Birkins happen to be the only angel race to have ties to the moon and the information that may come from the moon to give us more exposition on like One Piece itself. But I feel like in the Celestial Dragons, they're also false gods, and they're destroying islands off the face of the earth. So it's like whoa, like Skypiea was definitely a thing. So I guess, does Enel come back? Like, Doran, does he come back? What's going on?
Does Enel come back? I totally think he is. It's something that I've been predicting for a long time. And the reason why I think that is because, you know, with every One Piece villain that we've seen in One Piece, they've always had a conclusion, or we've learned in some areas an understandable motivation for why they do the things that they do. With Enel, it was not like that. He had no conclusion. He's completely different from every villain in One Piece, because even when he was defeated by Luffy, he still pursued his dream and he was successful. Now, what's also really interesting about Enel and Burka is that if you go into history, Burka was a real place like 1,000 years ago. It was a Viking trade port. So I've always been under the impression that when we go to when we finally get to Elbaf, I feel like that might even be the time Enel returns, because of all the Viking symbolism and Norse mythology that surrounds Enel, because he even has an attack called El Thor. And I'm even under the impression that, again, this is a theory. There's no proof to validate this at all. But I believe that the moon that Enel is on is actually Uranus. I think that's the ancient weapon in itself, but I guess we'll wait and see until that happens.
Before I go to Max, I do have to ask you, why do you think that the moon is Uranus?
Because Uranus is the god of the sky, and the moon is still within the atmosphere of the earth, and that was able to power it up. And from my knowledge, moons don't have ways to power up and charge. So I mean, just because there's so much technology there to begin with, it really shows some level of importance. So either he has Uranus, or Ian is in possession of Uranus, which is why he was able to do that thing on 1060, but it's still up in the air.
Okay. What about you, Max? You think Enel's coming back, bro, or is it just over for him?
Well, I think he's definitely coming back, but I really like that Elbaf theory that Doran was talking about. I've never heard that theory. I forgot that he like named that one attack Thor. But yeah, I don't think Oda would have had him like shown at the end of the arc to like, you know, like getting in his arc maxim and then going to the moon in the cover stories. I don't think Oda would ever put that in the story with no plans to bring him back. Like, he's definitely coming back. There's no way he's not.
Yeah. I want to say he comes back because he's one of my favorites, but I think it's done. I think Enel's never gonna come back. He's the only villain that's ever truly won, and I think that there's no room for him at this point. because I think if Yarush comes into the story, he could basically give us the exposition that Anel would currently have, you know. But there is one thing. Oh no, go Max.
You won't give us Anel's backstory though, like Doran was saying.
I mean, he was just a dude. I mean, the backstory for the moon, I think, can actually be done through Vegapunk. And the reason why I say this is because have you guys ever, so you guys know what island Vegapunk is from? Like, what's it called?
Isn't it that same island that that old man with all those other like robots were from?
Exactly. And this
Yeah.
is where it gets a little interesting, because Parvision pointed this out. That old man is from that same island, and he basically made robots that were basically pacifistas, if we really want to call it that, and they were sent up to the moon, where they had, to figure out what was going on, because they went back to their homeland, I guess, because there was other robots built like them there. So I feel like maybe that was Vegapunk's grandfather or some type of great-great-grandfather.
So then I have a question for you.
Yeah.
What is the purpose of Enel amassing that large army? Like, what? Like, do you think there's no purpose for that? Oda just put it in there, like, this is what Enel's up to. You'll never see him again, but here he is. Because I just don't think Oda's that type of writer. Oda, when he does things like this, he always does it with intention. And so if he doesn't bring Enel back into the story, I personally will be pretty disappointed, because it's like he set something up and never followed through on it. But Oda doesn't really disappoint. He's pretty consistent with reintroducing characters at the right time. So that's why I'm so inclined to believe that Enel will return.
I would probably just say, like, if there's use for Enel, then yeah. But I feel like his personality is too big in order for it to fit now into One Piece. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if he did come back with the large army, it would require some type of focus or attention that the story doesn't have time for. Like, if
that's why
I
think it would be the best thing if he came with an ancient weapon, because that'd be the best way to reintroduce him into the story.
I guess, but it's like, at this point, we're at a level of hockey where, like, Enel wouldn't be able to compete. Even if he has the ancient weapon, he would get taken out so quickly that the ancient weapon would just be handed to whoever receives Enel's attention first. Like, if the government saw him first, they'd just take him out immediately.
What if he in the 2 years he's trained his hockey? Because again, it's been 2 years since we've seen Enel, and Enel without a crew, with just being the person who he was. Oda did state that in SPS, his bounty would have been 500 million, just being who he is, with nothing else intertwined. When you take that away, it shows just how strong Enel actually was. Because how are bounties awarded? They're awarded most of the time based on notoriety and clout. So Enel, without clout, getting awarded a 500 million berry bounty, I think that speaks volumes.
I think we would have to get into the conversation of, like, how strong how strong are space pirates, right? Because there are space pirates in space. True. And it's like, your will can only be challenged if there's somebody of that level that challenges you. And, like, we would have to leave it up to the assumption as there's just some beast ass dude with, like, all the hockeys Enel would probably need in order to just be able to even bang out with somebody now this late in the story. And I feel like that would be a huge jump in speculation, right? Like, am I wrong, Max?
I would say, like, I would probably agree with Doran. Like, most of Luffy's past villains have gotten stronger, like, over time. Like, that's just how it works, basically, over time. And also, I was thinking, like, what you were saying, how strong would those space pirates be? I would say, like, Seraphim level would make the most sense.
Yeah, but Seraphim level is like putting Blackbeard on his back heels and making him do one of his most powerful moves. You know what I'm saying?
Flash with Blackbeard for a little. That wasn't putting him on his heels.
Yo, you didn't think that Seraphim put him on his heels for a second?
Nah.
Oh
I
my
think
god.
he was caught off guard for a second that he had to utilize his hockey. But by the time that he's apprehended Boa, like it literally looks like this guy took no damage at all. Like he was still chilling.
Yo, but the Seraphims weren't. They said the Seraphims didn't have one scratch on them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
but not,
strong. I feel like the space pirates are like just as strong. I mean, they're from space. Like we don't know, you know.
Yeah, I get you. I do have two more questions.
We got
What-
an emu question coming up.
An emu question? Why, you want an emu question?
Yeah, I want to talk about what went down in the last chapter.
Oh yeah, we could talk about it. What do you want to ask?
Like, what do you guys even think happened there? Like, was it emu's power? Were they like, what do you think?
Doran, you could go first if you want.
I want it to be a Devil Fruit power because that would just be so that like it could be an ancient weapon, but I want it to be Devil Fruit power because that would just be so incredibly ridiculous that Emu can erase things from existence, just by Xing a country on a map. I think that'd be awesome.
How would you fight that? That just sounds so broken.
Well, there has to be constrictions. Maybe it's something that Emu can only use under certain pretenses. Maybe it's even like a last resort, or maybe it's even just something that Emu uses to show that we're the world governments. We've been here for 800 years. This is what happens when you try to mess with us. Now the other notion is that what if Emu actually erased that country from existence to the point where everybody kind of forgot about it, similar to Sugar's Devil Fruit. There's this whole theme in One Piece about being a martyr, being remembered. You have people like Roger and Whitebeard who are engraved into history, and then you have somebody like Roxy Zebek who is forgotten from history, and Kaido's only goal is to be remembered. So I think it's trying to play on that idea.
Yeah, that could be it too.
About it like that, bro. Like rocks being erased from history the same way that Lulisha Kingdom was.
I
That's
think
pretty-
I'm gonna be real. If he has Kaido, Big Mom, and Whitebeard, and Wang Shi, and Captain John, and even Shiki, who's probably like the 5th strongest on the crew, I think that weapon shouldn't even phase him, bro. Like I don't think that weapon phases Shanks either. I'm serious. I know it sounds wild, but like when we're talking about like peak hockey, right? Like the willpower of those people are monstrous, bro. I don't even think that weapon affects Kaido to destroy him.
I think the best rule of thumb will be with how it affected Sabo, because we don't even know if Sabo is alive or not. I'm assuming he is, but like if he depending on what happened to Sabo, I think it'll be fair to make assumptions just how devastating this power is. Because regular civilians, like you said, they're essentially fodder. Like
Yeah.
Shanks is one of the most overpowered people in One Piece.
Yeah. And somebody pointed out in my chat when I was live reading that Sabo might have not even been on that island.
Yeah.
Because the light is shining on the right side of his face and he's looking right. Everybody else is looking straight up. So he might be on a boat.
Good point.
But on the island, if he just went in his Logia form, it might not even do anything, right?
Exactly. I would think that. So his Logia form is pyro, right? It's fire. And that weapon would either have to be a contrast to that, like magma is to ice, or have some type of willpower within it in order to hurt Sabo. If not, he just regenerates.
And that's what I was thinking too. I completely agree with you.
So I'll answer your question, Max. So this is going to be sort of like a long answer, so forgive me. But all right, so I was talking over dinner to Parvision when he came to our studio and visited, and we just had a blast, and he mentioned something about Vivi and Vivi possibly being an ancient weapon or the component to an ancient weapon. And I didn't really understand what he meant. And he was like, listen, when Vivi during Alabasta's war was yelling at the top of her lungs to have everybody stop fighting, stop the war, stop killing each other, at a certain point, she screamed so loud with such will that she accumulated clouds and made it rain over a country that was barren of water. Like there was just nothing there. And I was like, okay, maybe she can do that, but like what kind of effect would that have on the world? And he's like, well, you could either cover the entire world with clouds, the same way like a nuclear bomb would, which would then freeze the world over, or she could make it rain so hard that like it would cause devastation. And I'm like, okay, I'm on board, but I'm kind of not on board because I don't want Vivi to be an ancient weapon or even tied to one. And he was like, well, that's probably why Alabasta is also so special. So I was like, okay. All right, so moving on. When we saw Emu for the first time debut, silhouetted, he or she was holding a bunch of pictures.
Yeah.
So those pictures were Shirahoshi, Vivi, Blackbeard, and Luffy. All the pictures were either cut up or stabbed, except one person's. That was Vivi's. So, Vivi is missing, right? If Vivi is missing, and she's the last place she was seen was Marie Joa, then most likely Im knows she's an ancient weapon or a component to it. Yeah. Why? Because when the Gorosei asked, Emu, which light should we take out next? It might have been Lulusia, but it also might have just been, we're going to take Vivi out so she's not a danger, but we could also use her because we actually have Uranus and she's the component that we're missing to activate Uranus, to make it work. So this was probably done when Rox was around and it happened to God Valley and somebody from Alabasta probably was used again because Shirahoshi's a reincarnation of a ancient weapon, right? Like, yeah, it only comes through mermaids. What if it happens to like the princesses of Alabasta, like the queens and stuff like that? So I'm thinking that maybe Im used Vivi to use what they already had, which was Uranus, to activate what they did to God Valley. And I think the final piece to put it all together is what Doflamingo said when he was in jail, right? He said, there's a national treasure or something like that at Marie Joa. And I think that's what he's talking about.
I want to play on this because I love where your headspace is at too, and what you and Parv are talking about. Because this is something that I've thought and talked about a lot. And so I'm sure you guys know about the whole four gods theory from all the way back in Skypiea, right?
Yeah.
Well, when people brought this up, they're like, oh, it's Dragon. He's obviously the rain god. Oh, it's Green Bull or Chopper, the forest god. But I think the whole thing with, a lot of the things with, being a god in this certain type of scenario, it has to do with the person's dream. So for instance, Vivi, her dream was to, get Alabasta out of this drought so they could be free and make it rain. So therefore she would be the rain god. Also her hair is blue, so it kind of goes with that theme of water. Shirahoshi, what's her dream? Her dream was to always go to a forest. Ergo, she would be the forest god. And the last two would be Luffy and Blackbeard. Luffy, sun god Nika, obviously, and the earth god, which is the counter to the sun, which would go to Blackbeard. And I thought that the four posters that Ian was holding was kind of a little Easter egg towards that type of idea. And so building upon that with the ancient weapons, I think there's a lot of validity to it.
Yeah. It's weird. It's very weird because I've always been under the impression since Morge stated that each of the ancient weapons represents the Hakis. So Conqueror's Haki would represent Poseidon, which is the control over animals, right? And then we have Pluton, which I'm 100% sure that it's a ship and it affects the weather and land, right? So we have Poseidon under the water, Pluton on the water, and then Uranus, which represents observation Haki, would be in the air because it's, observation is very airy anyway. And then Pluton is armament Haki. And I feel like, I don't know, if we're going to aim something from far away and use it to attack something else, that's another reference to what Enel was doing, right?
I was about to say, because what was the Haki that Enel was superior at? It was observation Haki.
So I think that Emu is probably using a certain type of advanced observation Haki, which is the most powerful Haki in the show by far. But anyway, I think he's being able to use that to attack different places. And I think that's the reason why he's able to use the weapon now. But yeah, that's my long answer, Max. My bad. But what do you think about everything?
No, I think I've seen that Parvision theory before. I really like that. I think I don't know if I saw a different one, but I saw like one time he was talking about how like all the girls who look like Nami in One Piece could have like much more importance than you think, like because they all look alike, they each different, like I think it might have been like ancient weapons he wanted to tie to each, like Rebecca, Shirahoshi, and then Vivi. I think that's where he was going with it. But like that, the Vivi theory is definitely interesting. I like that theory.
I just thought it was the shadow clone jutsu in One Piece, but that's a way better idea than I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's my thoughts. It's gonna be interesting. I'll tell you that. Like Oda's a freak, bro. I don't know how
Oda's the mad genius.
Yeah, like I don't know how he's come up with this, right? Like how does like one person like does this huge type of manga for this long and it's this fire still. It's crazy. But my last two questions is first we'll go with how did you feel about Luffy's Ahega O face? I think that's how you say it. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Wait, when was this?
The one where we see Egghead, the entire Egghead. Did you see Luffy's face?
Yeah, I see it right now.
What do you guys think of it? Rate it 1 through 10 right now.
I gotta pull it up. Hold up.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, I'm underwhelmed. I don't see the hearts in his eyes. Like,
oh, when Bonnie was changing.
Yeah, you see his face.
5 out of 10.
5 out of 10.
Yeah.
Chopper's is better, you think?
Well, Chopper, like, I can't say it.
You get to it yet, Max, or not?
Oh,
the
man.
one out?
Huh?
Which panel are you talking about? I'm at the chat.
Where he's talking about being hungry because he's looking at Bonnie. I understand.
That face is great.
1 to 10. 1 to 10.
I'm gonna give it a solid 8. I like that.
You're too generous.
He said I like that. I'm gonna be real, man. I feel like it could have been a little bit better, so I'm gonna give it a 7. I'll give it a 7.
Well, what would your face be?
Yeah, I'm not making a face. I'm not making a face.
Mine would obviously have the hard eyes, so.
That's valid.
Mine would be 2H anime for this, bro.
Okay.
when I eventually get a VTuber model, I'll make sure that the guy can give me an Ahigo face.
The one that you got now, but just like randomly when you're explaining something mad serious, it just pops out for like 5 seconds.
Exactly. That's how they'll know I'm serious about the video.
All right. The last question I do have, and I know I mentioned it earlier in our talk, but you know how I said that Vegapunk happened to grow up on Karakuri, I believe the name of the island he grew up on, and he wasn't able to warm the climate as he wanted to, so he cried for the citizens and yada yada, right? Do you think he perfected it on Egghead? The reason why I ask is because if you look at Egghead, the island, in its entirety when it's like silhouetted, the similar structure of something really big up top, and then the trees are like palm trees with coconuts on it. So that would explain like a warm climate, right? Do you think he perfected it here and it's just snowing because he didn't activate the geothermal, Max?
I didn't even notice the palm trees until you talked about him. That could definitely be the case. Like he finally mastered how to like control the climate. It would make sense for sure.
I think what he did is controlled the climate within the actual country, but to keep out pirates, he left it the same around.
Ooh, that makes sense.
Yeah, but that's what I think.
To keep out pirates?
Well, because like obviously he's not a fan of pirates, so because again it's better to have extreme weather conditions, so to leave out invasive individuals.
Mhm.
He probably created like the eddy that Bonnie was in. Like he probably is manifesting all these like conditions.
Yeah.
Yeah, this dude is crazy, bro. Holy. Ah, I don't, so if he did do so, right? Like if he is able to change the climate of like islands now, why do you think he didn't go back to his homeland to change it when they're still like freezing and they mentioned, his personality?
Probably
He-
too stuck up with science.
What about you, Max?
I was just saying he abandoned the lab for some reason. There must have been something that caused him to abandon it. But like, yeah, there's obviously he doesn't affiliate with that like island anymore.
Yeah.
I will say something that I'm noticing right now that I didn't before
Mhm.
is that the clouds have swirls in them.
Oh yeah, they do.
Yeah, I don't know if that's important or not, but like,
Yeah. Clouds? What?
but it actually reminds me of this SBS that Oda said early in One Piece, where a fan asked why does Sanji have swirly eyebrows, and Oda said that everything persists in cycles, the sun and the moon, the sea. Like he really made a meme out of it, but also like he was letting on more than he was willing to tell. So maybe it's just another like situation like that.
Yeah. That's interesting. Wow. I mean, that probably explains why Sanji's such a bad character, right? He goes from bad to good, good to bad in the cycle.
Damn.
As Sanji is my second favorite character in One Piece, my heart is breaking right now.
I had to throw a shot.
How could you? My heart.
Yeah, I don't know. I had one more question too. That's so crazy. Yeah, do you guys have anything else you want to talk about?
You guys got a Kainu versus Kaido.
Oh,
Kaido.
Akainu.
I agree. Kainu.
Akainu, yeah.
You guys are wildin'.
Just yeah.
Job done.
Bro, how are you guys gonna end this amazing episode on disrespect? I don't get it.
Nah,
That's
this
not
is facts. You're the
fact.
one who's speaking fiction.
Yo, bro, I just saw Kaido lift an entire island that's like 100 or more of ores with ease, take on the entirety of the force. Yamato, Zoro, Law, Kid, Big Mom, he fought the day before. And then he took on a person who can grab lightning bolts without looking and chuck it. And he kept one-shotting that person. And he literally like took Luffy out of Gear 5. And then Luffy had to come back into Gear 5. And Luffy had to create a fist the size of Onigashima in order to even compete with Kaido. And y'all saying that he losing to a Kainu?
He
He's
didn't.
donut maker.
What'd you say?
He's donut maker. He's turning the world into his bakery.
Exactly. A Kainu, if he had to go up against that attack that Luffy was throwing at Kaido, he would dodge it, and then he would make the finishing blow. Like
Yeah.
Kaido make the finishing blow.
It's
He does.
actually from this one statement that Oda said in an interview or an SBS. I forgot which one it was, but he said that if Akainu was the protagonist, he would find the One Piece and he'd get the One Piece within 1 year. Which means if he was in Luffy's position, going up against the monsters of the sea, he would surpass them all and get the One Piece. So, or at least, maybe not actually go full on defeat them, but he would still be the one out of all of them to get the One Piece.
So
I
did-
think that
So did Oda say that he was a pirate or a marine when he would do this?
this is in the idea that he was a pirate, which is why he didn't make Luffy an overpowered protagonist from the jump, because then the story wouldn't have been as interesting as it was up until now.
I saw a Kainu get bodied by a Whitebeard that couldn't even flex Conqueror's hockey.
Bro didn't get bodied.
He
Wait,
got
was this
bodied
in the-
pre-time skip.
Was this in the anime or the manga? Because I'm pretty sure this was in the anime. In the manga, it wasn't like that.
I
In
mean,
the manga, in the manga, Akainu didn't take any damage in the entirety of Marineford.
If I remember
There-
correctly, he still got put out the fight by an attack that Whitebeard had created.
He did, but I remember verbatim that in the manga, Akainu and Whitebeard never actually fought after he did what he did to Ace. The reason the animators did that was because it was supposed to be like, vengeance for what he just did to Ace because of the emotions the fans were feeling. But in the manga, I don't think he did that. So I mean, they're still both canon, so you can take it as it is. But I'm inclined to believe more in what the manga was shown because that's the source material.
Wait, Larry, who do you think won the fight though at Marineford? The Whitebeard, Akainu.
Who won the fight?
Yeah.
Oh, Akainu.
Oh, okay. Like then that's all that needs to be said.
No, wait, listen, bro. We talking about Kaido. Like, I get what you're saying, but at the end of the day, it's like we all know it's already Yonko over Admirals, right? Like that's been stated. Like clearly.
I think Admirals over Yonko.
What? I saw 2 Admirals lost to Sabo and a few people.
They didn't lose.
They didn't lose. They escaped.
Exactly.
All I know there was 2 Admirals, and then I saw a Yonko roll up from the bottom of Wano, which is super low, and get his power turned completely off by Yonko.
I also have an argument for that. You also have to look at it from Greenpool's perspective. He was on his own. You think it doesn't make like he was willing to go up against the entirety of Wano as it was. Even the fact that Luffy was there, like he was ready to go. The reason he didn't was because with another variable added into the equation, things get too complicated. He can't just go off soloing the verse on his own.
Doesn't sound like something Akainu would do. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, Akainu wouldn't do what Green Bull did in the first place, though. He would have came with all the Marines.
Yeah, y'all wildin', bro. Like, I get what y'all saying, but like, Kaido has been stated 1v1. You bet on Kaido, bro. And like,
where is he now?
Yo, he got jumped, and then he fought.
Is that where are we like? So that that's a rumor that was going through One Piece. That's so the way I see that is that it's almost like a bar rumor. Let's say you're at a bar, you're there with the bartender, and he's like, hey, rumor has it that if you 1v1 Kaido, he's gonna win. So how accurate is that information? Just because it's a rumor. It's something that has some legitimacy to it. But again, it's nothing that you can really say verbatim because we've only seen Kaido fight a couple of people, and we've never seen him fight somebody like true top gears, like a Roger or a Whitebeard or something. So
let me ask you this: Is Mihawk's title the same way for you or no?
Mihawk with being the strongest swordsman. Well, again, the thing with Kaido is he was the strongest creature. Creature doesn't necessarily mean human.
All right, so was Whitebeard the strongest person in the world?
He was a person who could destroy the world. I don't know if he was the strongest, but I know he had the capability of destroying the world with his abilities. Maybe at that point in time he was. Maybe in his prime he was. But a lot of information in One Piece is skewed. Take it with a grain of salt. That's what I tend to do, at least, because you have to understand that, like, where is the information coming from? Who's the one who's saying this information? Is it just a rumor around the One Piece world, or is this Oda really trying to tell us that this guy's really up there?
All right, I'm a strong advocate that Oda be lying all the time, bro, all the time. And
what
listen,
has he done before?
What?
Lied.
Yo, because Mihawk isn't the strongest swordsman. I think that if he's the strongest swordsman, like somebody would be like the strongest boxer or the best boxer. But if they stepped into an MMA ring, they're going to get their ass handed to them. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like Shanks himself is an MMA fighter. Like he might fight with a sword, but that's not his only source of strength. Like if Shanks and Mihawk put a sword down, who you think is winning? I would say Shanks.
I agree, but the thing is that from what we know about Shanks is that he's a very respectful and honorable person. So he wouldn't do that in the first place. If he's going to fight Mihawk, he's going to fight with what he's best at, which is swordsmanship. But again, going in favor of Shanks, their duel never ended. So the reason why Mihawk is the strongest swordsman is because nobody was able to contest him, and he refuses to fight Shanks, and he refuses to take away that idolization he's put in his mind of who Shanks is as a character.
So-
Ooh, that's a good way of looking at it. I never
Yeah.
thought about it.
So no, I agree. But at the same time, it's like he became a Yonko after that. But whatever. Mihawk didn't face anybody. My point is, it's like there's really nobody in the series that could do the things that Kaido does at the level that he does it at. And it's like if they wanted to take Kaido out, Akainu would have just rolled up and took Kaido out with his army that he assimilated himself and just took him out. I feel like that could have been just that.
It costs too much to do that. Like they can't just like enter Yonko territory with like an admiral or two and just like go all out. It would be too much.
Because the way I see it is what are the Yonko essentially? They're superpowers, just like the world government is. And so there's the whole balance of power with the warlords, the emperors, and the world government. And so by you going after one of the Yonko who's there to stabilize that balance of power, you disrupt it. And when things are out of balance, things can change drastically. So it's better to not upset that balance and leave things in a steady equilibrium than it is to rock the boat.
Like Kaido was willing to just come with King to Marineford, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like he himself was like, all right, yo, I'm gonna go take out Whitebeard, even though these world powers exist. Like he had that confidence. And like now that we've seen what we've seen from him, how many people can you literally say can do the things that Kaido can do? If you think Akainu can do so, I feel like that's just so blasphemous. Like Akainu's never shown the type of durability, the type of stamina, the type of like showmanship and hockey as well. Like if we're going off the basis of what Whitebeard at his deathbed was able to do and Akainu doing what he did, that's not enough. Because we know that Kaido's stronger than him. We know that Kaido's stronger than both of them at that point. Like even Garp was going to take him out.
Just from what we've seen, though, we can't say anything for certain yet because we've really only seen Akainu in one instance. And we've only seen the outcome of another instance, which was when he fought for 10 days without Kiji, and both of them essentially reshaped the environment and climate of Punk Hazard. So basically what I'm saying is, there is an argument to say that yes, Kaido is stronger, but we have still yet to see the full power of what Akainu can muster. And until Luffy fights Akainu, which is an inevitability, or even Sabo, because that could also be set up that he fights Akainu, we won't know for sure just how strong this guy is.
Well, even if Akainu is weaker than Kaido, he fights in a completely different way. Like Kaido plays with his food. He's not like actually like trying to end the fight like immediately. Whereas with Akainu, he's just trying to get the job done. Like they fight in completely different ways.
Yeah, I agree.
Yo, but Kaido steps up to his comp level. And that's been proven. Like anytime Luffy ever stepped up, he stepped up as well. And I get that you may be able to land that one shot that could punch a hole through him and melt his organs. But like, it's Kaido, bro. Like the dude tanked Gamma Knife. Like I watched an old man Whitebeard on his deathbed take 2 shots to the chest. And he was still able to take on Blackbeard and his crew. You know what I'm saying? Like he was still able to fight. And it's like, we're talking about Kaido, who is honestly the most impressive fighter we've seen yet. I just don't believe. And I just don't believe at the end of the day, like Kaido said, hockey is everything. Hockey is the end all be all. It's what Roger made the world go to their knees from. And like the most impressive hockey feats we've seen so far is Shanks, it's Kaido, it's Luffy. And I feel like if you could just put Akainu there, that's all speculation. That you have to assume that this guy is at this level. There's no actual hard facts.
Well, do you think Akainu's hockey is weaker than Luffy's?
Yeah.
I don't think it is.
I disagree as well.
Because again, you have to understand, like you're right. We don't know a lot about Akainu, but we know enough that he did full on clash with Shanks at Marineford, and I think that says something in itself. Like, yeah, Shanks could have blasted him away, yeah, maybe Akainu could have defeated him if he was, had the capabilities to. But the fact that he was able to clash with him and nothing happened, I still think that's something to be said for Akainu.
I mean, he wasn't even clashing with Shanks. Shanks just stopped his fist. You know what I'm saying?
But yeah, but like you have to imagine if Akainu was using his devil fruit to turn people into donuts, the only way to defend against Logia is with hockey.
And who has the strongest hockey so far in the show?
It's Shanks, exactly. But
it has to be Shanks or Kaido. Like, those are the only two people.
Again, we'll have to wait and see.
I don't know, man. I feel like I get what y'all saying, but it's like Kaido has shown us things we didn't even think was possible, bro. Not to mention he has a Logia form in his dragon form. like there's some degree of talk where like Wano is written badly because Kaido surrounded himself in a magma form that was melting the horns of Onigashima, but then he died in lava. Like, what? Like, I don't know, bro. I can't. I'll say this. I'll agree to disagree or disagree to agree, whatever. But I feel like, I don't know. I feel like you guys are bugging. But go, Max. I know you were trying to talk.
I was gonna say, like, the statement about Kaido saying like hockey can surpass all. He said only hockey can surpass all. So that means like if you have like hella strong hockey, then you might have be stronger than someone with a very strong devil fruit. But it's not like an assurance. Like it doesn't mean like everyone with strong hockey is automatically stronger than like everyone with devil fruits.
That's where I gotta do. This is where I gotta disagree because the show itself is based on willpower, and Doran's a big advocate for how the story is written out, right? Like, this is what makes the story great, is the story, and the story is all about willpower, like the will to do anything that you choose to do, and you have to overcome the adversities of that goal through will. And it's
don't some devil fruits have a will of their own?
Yes, but those devil fruits are challenged via the person.
So I actually want to bring up a point. I know you guys know who Goldie Air is, right?
Yeah.
Well, something Air brought up, this is one of his theories, that the way Logia devil fruits and maybe even all devil fruits were founded were actually because of willpower. And so that's what his basis was for a lot of these abilities. So it still follows that same train of thought that devil fruits are essentially will. And when they get passed down to the generations, to the next user, it's all still within the idea and notion of inherited will. So, I mean, it could still be two sides of the same coin, but it's still another mystery that we've yet to have answered. It's just a game theory.
I like that YouTube, by the way. Listen, what I will say is this. Anybody that's ever been highly devil fruit dependent has always fallen to other people that were hockey dependent. So we have Big Mom, right? And she didn't use her hockey during that fight most of the time. She didn't use her Conqueror's coding that she had against Page 1 the same way she did to Kid and Law, right? Ultimately, it led to her downfall because she was not using hockey as efficiently. Then we have Ace. Ace was devil fruit dependent as well. Lost to Blackbeard because obviously it's a counter to his ability. But if he used hockey, he probably would have been in a better state. Then we have Anel. Anel is another one, devil fruit dependent. And this is what I'm trying to say. It's like, yes, the devil fruit is a means to using or amplifying your hockey. But when it comes down to it, the most dangerous people that have been in the show have been people who haven't had devil fruits. Shanks, Roger, Garp.
All the people you talked about, like Ace, Big Mom, and I forget the other person, didn't lose to people who were like using hockey though. Like Luffy didn't beat Anel with hockey, and Blackbeard didn't beat Ace with hockey, and Big Mom didn't lose to Law and Kid because of their hockey.
Yeah, but the point I was trying to make is like the devil fruits themselves, they don't get challenged. It's the person overall with the devil fruit that gets challenged. And depending on how you use your abilities determines the outcome of the fight. And if the story is based on willpower, then your will has to match that of either your devil fruit or it has to surpass your devil fruit, which is what Kaido was saying. Kaido's basically, in my interpretation, saying that only Haki through its own is going to be able to surpass these devil fruits or these devil fruit compatibilities with other people who have strong Hakis as well. Haki is always going to be the power you have to rely on, where the devil fruit is something you can rely on.
Yeah,
I see where you're coming from.
So, and it's like Kaido was the foundation of, you have a great devil fruit, you're amazing with it, but then your Haki surpasses your devil fruit as well. And his devil fruit only supported his main weapon, which was his Haki. That's why he went into hybrid form many times, but then he just chose to out Haki everybody. You know, it was to boost his abilities already. And it's like Luffy does the same thing.
All right, to switch gears a bit, I do have one question though. This is a very important question, and I think we all should have an answer for it. Favorite girl in One Piece?
Favorite girl in One Piece?
Shocky easily.
Miss Monday easily, bro.
Shocky and Miss Monday. Wow, these are hot takes.
Hey, who is Miss Monday again?
I'm out here with Boa Hancock.
I gotta look her up.
Yo,
I actually do too.
you
Wait,
guys.
hold up.
Oh,
Is it? Let's see.
a man of culture. I see.
Yeah, this is a pretty cultured take.
No, I'm joking.
Until Zoro grabbed her head. And just,
Zoro palmed that man.
Yo, the Minority Hunter, bro. One Piece chick. Damn, this is hard. There's so many.
I mean, there's only one right answer.
I mean,
Yeah,
go Max. What did you say?
I was saying the right answer is Shocky. That's.
I mean, that's one answer. That's not the right answer.
Damn, this is so hard, bro. I know Boa's like up there. I'd probably choose Robin.
Okay, that was a good take too. Honestly, Shocky's an interesting take. I've never heard before, but I respect it.
Yeah,
I've always been a Shocky man.
Robin's
Yeah,
fire.
really, he's a dog.
Yeah. Who else? Now you got me thinking of all these like past women.
Oh, the girl at Impel Down that was working for Magellan.
I feel like you like to be dominated if you mess with her.
No, not that girl. There's a different one. I think
I'm
her
pretty
name's
sure.
Nah, go.
I'm
said
pretty sure. Oh, sorry, Max.
Go, Max.
I was just saying, I think her name is Domino. I want to say.
Oh, it is. It is. What about you, Doran?
Well, I'm a big Boa advocate. You know, I support the team.
Mhm.
So like, but I also obviously like Nami, Robin, they're up there too. Who else though? I know I have like a list.
I'm gonna be real, bro. Gotta be Carrot, bro. I'm not a furry person, but like,
Oh,
I like Carrot. Like people don't like Carrot, but I thought she was a funny character.
Carrot up there, bro.
Oda does some sus stuff with Carrot. Like he really almost crosses the line with like the furry stuff.
Yeah, I know. And by the way, Domino is a based take. I knew who I had a theory or I predicted it was this girl, but good take.
I appreciate that. Thanks.
I feel if anybody ever says Kiku, they gotta rethink, right?
I mean,
teach their own.
Go ahead, Max. What are you gonna say, bro?
I said the same thing as him.
They're just staying in a safe zone. They're like, "Yep, we're not touching it." Yo, raid you. Real talk though.
Yeah,
I'll get Poison Ivy. Feel me?
Now, as like an actual like, I think this girl's a fantastic character. Pudding's definitely up there.
Oh my god, bro! She would stab you in a sleep and then kiss you after.
I mean, she pretty much did that to Sanji, so like.
Yo, real talk though, it's Alvida and everybody knows it. Pre-time skip and post. You feel me?
I don't like anything about Alvida.
Her power is kind of broken, bro.
Yo,
She can slip off into the trash bin where she belongs.
no, you don't like Smoothie? She could juice you, bro.
Oh no, I do like Smoothie. She's an Amazonian. I'm a fan of Amazonians. You know, Boa. So
The snoo, bro.
she's a Futurama reference.
The snoo, bro. That's it. Yo, real talk, Sanji's mom, dog. I don't care what anybody says. Sick or not sick, bro.
Preferably not sick, but
He said preferably not sick. Oh man. Yo, low key Sudo, bro. She wifey. Sudo waited 20 years for like her mans to come back, bro. She kept it tight.
it's a shame I don't like Kinemon at all. So I don't care about that plot line.
Oh, I thought you were talking about.
What'd you say?
I thought you were talking about the Marine who worked with Garp and Sengoku.
Nah. Sudo, Kinemon's wife for sure. Yo, what's that chick's name that's back at like the one that everybody thinks Shanks got pregnant, where they found Luffy at?
Yeah.
What's her name?
Oh, Makino.
Yeah, you gotta give Makino, bro.
Oh, I always liked Makino. She was just like the cool barkeep.
Somebody said Ezo though.
Maybe in a different timeline.
He said in a different timeline. Oh my god, bro, my chest hurts. Real talk though. That chick with the snow fruit. I forgot her name.
Oh,
Oh,
Monet.
Yo, keep the bird fruit on, bro. Keep that hybrid form, dog.
That wasn't
Why?
a hybrid. No, that wasn't a hybrid form. That was she got Caesar and Law to give her to change her arms and legs into a harpy.
Yeah, she's wild, bro.
Yeah, she was wildin'. She's freaky like that.
Is that sugar I see on this list?
Are you looking at the screen that I'm looking at?
Yeah.
Sugar on the list. Where is
Because
it?
that's criminal if she's on there.
I just
Yeah,
put.
it's criminal.
I just picked this up. I didn't even.
Is that Otama? No way.
Yo, somebody report this guy, bro. Somebody report him.
That's actually insane.
Yo, Ivankov, what y'all think, bro?
Ivankov,
Yeah. Another timeline.
a gender fluid beauty. I respect him.
What about you,
Honestly,
Max?
though, as like a woman, like I don't know, like it's like I'd probably like yeah.
What about you, Max? What you think, bro? You going after it?
I mean, it is what you know.
You said it is what it is.
I just sugar is that A tier? That's actually insane.
Yeah, it's I don't even know how to react to that.
Yo, low key. Rebecca needs to be put like under either. She's like 15, bro. Yo, real talk.
She's 16, yeah.
I'm gonna be real. This is probably like she's so underrated. It has to be this chick from Dressrosa.
Oh, Viola.
Yes, yo.
Yeah,
Viola
yo,
is so bad. She's Boa bad.
She's top tier. Like
Yeah,
she
she's
is,
top
though.
tier.
She,
Yeah.
I think she's a cool character.
Bro, I wanted her and Sanji to work out so bad.
Yo, I
was tra-
did.
I don't know, like Sanji is he can lead either way. That's who Sanji is. He's just a man of culture.
Yeah.
He has bad luck.
How y'all feel about the Don, yo? Just y'all two on an island. Yeah, yes.
The Dawn, she can do mountain bandit stuff. If there's a mountain, she can do mountain bandit stuff. That's all I'll say.
Oh, have you seen Dawn's early design, bro?
No, I've never seen her
Now I
early
need to see-
design.
now I need to see this.
I need to
Bro,
see it.
look up Dawn's early design right now.
No way. She reminds me of Bellamere.
Yeah, she can get it for sure.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm looking right now. Hopefully it doesn't. This is her here. baddie, bro. She's definitely black.
Yeah, she's got like
She's a baddie.
Cornrows?
How'd she end up like that, bro? She's shaped like Weevil. Holy. She looks like Bullet, no lie.
Oda's like, I could go with this normie design, but honestly, like, let's change it up. Let's make her look way better.
It's actually crazy how that early design doesn't look like Nami.
Oh my god, bro. Yo, low key Bellamere, bro. Her haircut game is fucked up, but like, she got value. She got value, bro.
See a barber.
She got value, bro. Who cut her shit like that? Gotta be somebody in the Marines, right?
It gotta be her who cut her stuff like that. Like, I ain't gonna lie. She was cutting expenses as much as he could.
Oh man, no way, bro. Yo, Yarouge, bro. Porcus D Yarouge.
Porcus D. Rouge, yeah. I mess with the freckles.
Listen, Roger knew what he was doing, bro. Oh, low key, she might be a Amazonian queen, bro. Did you guys ever hear about that?
Let me see. I actually never heard of that.
So, the theory basically goes that Roger, Rayleigh, and them visited Amazon Lily before, because Shaki was 2 generations ago, right? They're saying that maybe Porcus D. Yarouge was the generation before, because the old lady stated that every time a queen ends up leaving is because she's love struck. Now, Rayleigh knew of Amazon Lily, and that's why Shaki left, which means that most likely Roger came to the island. So maybe she was like the previous one, or the one before Shaki became one. Like, you know what I'm saying? And
well,
she
I might have to make a
left.
video on this tomorrow. I put it down. I'll do some research on it, see what I can come up with.
Yeah, so she ended up leaving. That's why Boa wants to leave too. So she ended up getting pregnant and basically bore her, the kid, and then she died. And then Shaki had to come through and become the, I guess, queen.
Yeah, I saw that theory. It's definitely compelling, like, because she has the whole like flower theme going on too, which can tie into like
The old
Amazon.
woman. She wears a flower in her hair. No way, bro. That's so wild. I think we should give one more girl, and then we'll end the show on that. So one last chick for the masses.
One last chick for the masses. Wow, that has to be a good one.
Yeah, it has to be a good one.
Double finger.
Oh no, Perona.
Oh, she's so annoying, bro.
What?
Yo, Perona's so fine, but she's so annoying, bro.
I love everything about Perona. Don't my heart, like my heart's hurting after hearing that.
Bro,
oh, actually, you know what? Baby 5.
Baby 5 might be annoying too, though.
What?
Yo, you want a girl to obey everything you ever say all the time without no hassle?
Baby 5 is just a great character. Like, she has such a tragic backstory, and just the person that she became as a result of it. I just think she's a fantastic character, and she's very like sweet and kind-hearted.
I agree.
Yeah,
I gotta go with the chick with the long neck from Big Mom's crew with the big hat.
This is the hottest take of the day, but
yeah, she got a lot of neck, man. I could use that.
Her neck game is extraterrestrial.
I see where your head's at.
Good one. That was good. What were you gonna say, Dorian?
Oh, Bello Betty is also up there. We can end up with Bello Betty.
Yeah, Bello Betty is a good one.
Bello Betty.
Cultured pick right there.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
Bello Betty is a good one. Yeah, so yeah, skipping on Kiku for real though.
On Kiku? In a different timeline.
Yeah, low key, do they got an early design of Brulee or nah?
Nah, I don't think so.
Nah. She gotta stay ugly, right? Whole life. Yeah, she had a red nose. They only got her as a kid. They don't have like any early designs. I was gonna say
another culture take is Hina.
Hina, the chick from the Marines.
Yeah,
the one that creates the bars and stuff. The cage.
Yeah.
Oh,
underlings, if you were in her unit, would you act the same, Doran?
I'm
Would
acting
I
up,
act the
bro.
same?
Like how act towards her?
Well, it depends on the circumstance, you know. Like,
I'm acting up,
I
dog.
mean, I probably not, but I also can't blame them for acting that way.
All right.
Mhm.
I know people didn't say this, and she's also underrated as much as Viola. It's gonna be Khalifa, bro.
You know what? I was thinking about Khalifa too.
Yeah, like how people be skipping Khalifa, bro.
That
How?
bubble bath scene.
Yeah, bro. Clean me up.
Oh.
Clean me up. I'm dirty today, bro. I'm gonna rub dirt on my face when I walk in the house.
Can't
Yes.
believe we didn't bring up Katarina Devon. What a shame.
Katarina Devon,
It can be
Yeah.
whoever you want.
bro. She would do some things to you and then rip your head off and wear it, bro.
Yeah, she's terrifying.
Yeah, she's terrifying. Oh my god, bro. All right. So, listen, we'll end it on this, guys. I had a lot of fun. Hopefully, we could definitely do this again. I'm thinking about getting more people into this. And I'm thinking about doing a huge roundtable, probably like something like a reverie one of these days, where like we each put our own input or we come with something to the table and we just talk. But I just want to say thank you, Doran's World. It means a lot that you even joined. And especially you too, Max. I appreciate it, fellas. I know I don't go on TikTok as much and I'm not on there a lot anymore to like talk like in the live streams, but like when I do pop in, I love that you guys are still doing your thing, you know? So, any last words from the both of you? You could tell everybody where they could find you at. And also, you know, just go off the dome. So we'll start with Doran first.
All right, you can find me on YouTube, TikTok, and other places I should not disclose, but yeah, Durun's World. Give me a sub if you want. I make pretty mid content, so I don't know how you'd want to, check that stuff out. But I'm not too bad. I'm not too bad.
All right. And then how about you, Max?
I'm just Xavier Wolf fan on TikTok, but like, yeah, I appreciate you having me on. Like, this was pretty fun.
Yeah, I'm glad. Did you guys have a better time doing something like this in comparison to like the TikTok lives, or were they sort of similar, just like feedback?
I think this is better than TikTok lives.
Yeah. Oh, so
Yeah,
happy to hear that.
And it was more fun. It was way more fun.
Yeah. I try to do my best with these questions. So yeah, Max, you said something?
I was just saying the connection's definitely better for me. Like TikTok is intermittent for some reason for me, like goes out all the time.
Yeah, and there's less banning over here, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know me, like I'm more into YouTube these days anyways. So like this is much more suitable in for longevity anyways.
Yeah, if anything, we come to your YouTube, bro, and we stream on yours and we just do our thing, you know?
Give me a minute because I need to get a better computer before I move that way. That's what I'm holding off on. Otherwise, I'd be doing it way more. But like, it's once I get a better computer, we'll definitely figure that stuff out.
All right. Well, gentlemen, everybody's saying a W stream. Listen, if you guys don't follow them already, that's especially people that, you know, are listening to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. I know there's a lot of you that listen and don't really watch. So listen, follow Doran's World, YouTube, and TikTok, and please follow even Xavier Wolffan, aka Max, on his YouTube so we could get that popping, and on his TikTok, because they both have great content that if you're in the One Piece community, you're gonna wanna follow these guys. So, gentlemen, thank you so much. It was my great pleasure to host this, and I'm definitely going to hit you up so we could do something like this again one of these days.
Sounds awesome.
All right. Have a good night, guys.
You too, man.
All right.
Hey, thanks for having me, bro.
Nah, of course, Max. See you later, Brody.
See you guys.
Peace.
Peace. This guy Traverse came through.
I didn't know what was going on. I just got off of work.
Oh, this dude. Oh, I just had like this huge podcast like stream with these two gentlemen, and we're just talking for mad long.
Oh shit.
Yeah. If anybody doesn't know, this is what Traverse sounds like if you're in the Discord.
Yeah,
You be hating, bro, all the time. It's okay though.
I'm not a hater.
You're
I'm
not a
very
hater, bro.
genuine man.
You're not a hater, bro.
I'm
Lies.
a lover.
Oh,
I've
you
never
a
hated
lover?
anything in my life.
Yo, did you hear this Kaido versus Akainu talk that they were saying or nah?
Nah.
All right, before I go, because I do need to go to the gym. They were saying that Akainu beats Kaido right now.
Huh?
Yeah.
So how did they go from saying that Kaido would lose to Garp and Sengoku in the 2v1?
Oh no, no, they weren't.
Kaido.
They weren't a part of that talk. These two guys,
Oh.
yeah, they weren't a part of it.
That's madness.
Yeah, bro. I don't know. I'm glad you came through. Yeah, but everybody, this is Traverse, bro. They're all like, yo, Traverse and they're chilling. Oh man. All right. Well, yo, Verse, I'm gonna head out, bro.
All right. Have a nice night, Larry.
Yeah, you too, man. I hope work was well.
Yeah.
All right, Brody. Talk to you later. All right, guys. So, this is it for tonight. I know this was a very long episode. I hope you really enjoyed it. I'm so sorry. I'm going to chop this video up. That way we can have 2 videos of this that you can like listen to and watch as well. So I'm gonna post my reaction on YouTube as usual. It will happen after this, and then I'm gonna slice the video up and then repost our segment with Xavier Wolfan and Doran's World. I just want to say thank you, seriously. Celestial Donkey for donating, twice, for the subs, for everybody that just showed out and like showed a lot of love today. I just want to say thank you. Like always, I'm hoping to have more episodes like this, more podcast episodes like this. Next week I have 2 guests that I'm inviting as well. And I'm hoping you like them. They were hard to get. If not, I'm gonna have to settle on the other 2 that I want really badly too. So we're gonna see. But thank you so much for joining. Phantom Greyfire, you've been here the whole time. 3-Day, thank you. Void, Peter Keenan, Steven, Big T, Par. Like even Par was in here chatting it up. Dr. Rayleigh, Carlos, all of you guys. Like thank you, and thank you on top of more thank yous. It's really a pleasure just being able to do this. So I'm gonna have more stuff like this, and I'm gonna try to make it look way more presentable. And sometimes we're not gonna get people that want to show their faces, but just being able to hear their voices and their minds is just as good. So there's a lot coming forward that I'm gonna start collabing, because I wasn't doing this before and I needed to do it. I've needed to do this like a long time ago. And this is why I love Par as a friend, and I love Par as an inspiration, because I think about it and I'm like, damn, bro, like that dude Par is pushing a limit, right? So I'm gonna do more collabs like this, and I'm gonna do it in my own way. I'm not gonna do it like everybody else on YouTube, right? I want to hear people's voices that are like generally making an impact somewhere else than YouTube. I want to set them. I want to bring them to the forefront. Like I've said about, our show, I want us to be the debate side that's respectful, but also interesting, where it's sort of like a Joe Rogan podcast, but with like One Piece. So we're going to keep going. One of my main goals though is before I go, one of my main goals is actually trying to get females to have their input and to hear some of the female audiences speak, because it's very male dominant in the Discord, and I really want like the female aspect of One Piece. So I'm probably gonna put out some I'm probably gonna reach out to probably some females to see what they would want to do. That way we could get like a refresher, because with guys we always go to power scaling like immediately, but girls don't really do that. So we'll see. But anyway, thank you so much, guys. I appreciate you so much. Please be on the lookout for our episode this Monday at 6 p.m. and I'll see you later. Other than that,